Hey everyone, it's Marla. Welcome back to Twinstrology once again. Today we are going to talk about the eclipses and the activation of the threefold flame that is happening. I'm probably going to make this video two parts. And in this part, I want to talk about the energy of the threefold flame, what it is, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the astrology and how this is unfolding within the astrology. I do want to say stay tuned to the end of this video because at the end I am going to do a short invocation of the threefold flame that can help you ground this energy. And I just want to touch base on a couple brief announcements. First of all, if you're looking to book a reading with me or have a session with me, please don't contact me through social media because I am not on social media very much at all. And there's a good chance that I'm not going to see your message for a while. So if you have something important or you want to ask me about my services, please go to my website, which is linked below, and use the contact form to email me, or I can put my email below as well, but that's the best way to contact me. Even then, be a little patient because sometimes it takes me 2 or 3 days to answer all the emails that I get. I'm a one-woman show over here, and some days I'm just really busy and don't get to answering emails. Plus, if I'm away from my desk and we're taking a break, then usually I put a automatic message to let people know that I'm not going to be able to answer for several days. And that way you won't be left hanging. I also just want to mention quickly too that the Twin Flame Oracle is on sale right now for, I think it's probably the lowest price it's been since the original Kickstarter. And it's on sale both on Etsy and the Intuit store. If you're international, it's best to order through Etsy. But if you are in the US and you order from the Intuit store, I do have a link below where you can get another 10% off the deck. And I did just post a video on going deeper with the Twin Flame Oracle. You know, if you've been using the deck primarily just going by the message and you want to take it a little bit deeper, learn some new ways that you can use the deck, you can check out that video. And I'm going to be doing a part 2 of that as well, where I pull some spreads and show you some ways to interpret the cards. Okay, so getting back to the video and the threefold flame, I do want to mention right off the top that one of the most important things that you can do for yourself right now is go in and clean up your energetic fields. I've been doing this a lot with people that I've been working with, probably for the last several months, and I may have mentioned it in other videos, but it's getting more and more imperative that we do this. So, as I've talked about, this is the year of serious shifts, and our energetic fields are going through a transformational process. Part of that is connected to the threefold flame activation. And if we have cords, implants, curses, this sort of thing in our energetic field, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to go through these shifts. So yeah, you want to look for cords. And we often think of cords as being connected to people. And for some of you, they are going to be connected to people, but there's other cords too. For instance, we've talked about doing grid work and traveling to places where we've had other timelines, what we call past lives. And so especially if you've had a traumatic experience, you can have cords to the land. You can have cords to behaviors, cords to situations. I've seen cords going to people's inner childs that are keeping them stuck in certain behaviors or thought patterns. We want to get rid of extraterrestrial implants, and these can be very, very old as well. I would say, too, distorted elementals can affect us, and often those show up as a repeating thought, negative thought that's very hard to get rid of. And then curses, too. We want to get rid of curses. Curses they're like a big a big thing. Different ways that they can manifest. We can put curses on ourselves. Okay, when we let's say we put a vow against something, or we're stuck in a negative behavior pattern. Obviously, most of you are going to recognize curses as someone trying to put a spell on you or black magic. So that's another way that can manifest. And those can manifest from other lifetimes as well, where if someone's put a curse on us, until we remove that, they can still be affecting us. There can be curses against your union, curses against your family, your ancestors, curses against your soul group, curses against your mission, curses against your spiritual advancement. And I'm not trying to be dramatic with these, because a curse can just be someone having a negative intention towards you, or you have negative intentions towards yourself. And as much as possible, we want to clear these up. So you can go in with your third eye and you can check your energy field, see if you have any of these, and you can remove them yourself. If you need help, then you can find an energy healer or someone that can see these things or knows how to work with them. But this is just part of prepping our energy for our next phase. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this as we go into the video. So let's take a look at what the threefold flame is. So here's an image of the threefold flame. And a lot that I'm going to talk about today in regards to the threefold flame comes from St Germain and channeling done by Mark Prophet from St Germain. St Germain tells us that the threefold flame is in our heart and that it's 1/16 of an inch, and that the threefold flame holds immense power and transformation for us as humans. And he talks about this in terms of the Maltese cross. So here's a diagram of the Maltese cross. A Maltese cross is a cross with equal-sided arms. And we see that this top cross is a different color, because this energy at the top is energy that is flowing in from the Godhead. When I talk about God, I'm referring to Mother, Father, God, the source which created us, or the source of all love. I'm using God in a somewhat generic term. Power is always being released from God. And here at the center of the cross is where this power is released on the material plane. And the energy becomes solidified in the material plane. Now we see that on the left, we have this arm, the west arm. This arm holds a negative polarity, and it represents the arm of power and is represented by the color blue in the threefold flame. On the right-hand side, or the east, we have the positive polarity. And this arm is pink. Sometimes it's like a magenta pink, and it represents the energy of love. And then this, which is the opposite reflection of the north arm, the south arm, is wisdom. And this is represented by the color yellow. And through the balance of these energies, we become aligned with, and I would say the reflection of, this top arm, which is the energy of source. So what we need to know about this activation is that the threefold flame for the vast majority of people has been imbalanced. And because of this imbalance, power has been distorted. Man abuses power. For me, this is where free will comes in, is where this point is, where God's power manifests in the material plane. Because God gives us power, but it's up to us to decide how we use power. And it's only when the threefold flame is activated do we really find balance and know how to use power in the right way. Now, one of the things I would say about this cross is that it represents the twin flame energy in a way as well. And I think of the arm of power as being the masculine energy, the arm of love as being the feminine energy, and wisdom as being the third energy. And again, these come into balance when we become aligned with source. Now, this is something that I've been channeling for several months. I've been talking about getting into alignment with God, especially in terms of wanting to manifest, and how true manifestation happens when we're in alignment with God, because this is where the correct source of power is. Now, one of the things is that we see, like, this arm, the masculine is on the left, and this arm, the love, is on the right, which is different than what we know as the feminine is the left and the masculine is the right. But if we take this, like, we're looking at this, but if we superimpose this onto ourselves, then indeed the masculine energy becomes our right side and the feminine energy becomes our left side. So it's when we balance the masculine and feminine energies, which are the polarities, that we create the wisdom, which I also see has the third energy. Again, the third energy is a reflection of God and our ability to create, because we are a reflection of God on earth. That's what gives us the energy to create. We are a small piece of God incarnated here and looking to experience life in the third dimension through this creative energy. But we also want to do this wisely. We want to do this with wisdom, because we don't want to come here and create a bunch of distorted energy, which is what humanity has been doing for thousands of years. And yes, while there are some external sources of the distortion, such as negative ETs that can interfere with us, a lot of the distortion comes from our egoic nature. Humans wanting to seek power through the domination of other people, seeking power for their own greed. We can't do that anymore going into this new reality. We need to balance these energies so that what we create is balanced with love. We're seeing this distorted energy of power really being brought to absolute extremes for humanity right now as humanity works on releasing all the karmic chains and struggles with what is the nature of power. Everywhere we look, we're seeing distortions of power. We're being bombarded by it. And some of it is very obvious, and some of it is still not so obvious. But it's there to help us understand power. One of the ways I think this shows up nowadays is the energy of victimization, which is very, very strong. And you cannot be a sovereign being and be a victim at the same time. You cannot be a victim and ascend. Yeah, there are people very prominent in society all around the world that are really perpetuating victim consciousness. And that is ultimately going to lead to everyone's disempowerment. So this is one of the ways, this is just an example of how power gets distorted and how people want to control other people by using that distortion to their advantage and trying to play up these distortions. And we have to be smart enough and aware enough and wise enough to realize that this is a false energy and take back our sovereignty. Here's another rendering of the threefold flame and the Maltese cross combined. So we can see the blending of these energies. Sorry that this green square is there. So let's say that if we have too much of an imbalance in power, then we're going to go into energy of wanting to control others, perhaps being greedy, manipulating others. We might be aggressive, even become violent. We could become imbalanced in the love energy. And maybe we become overly compassionate, overly sentimental, where we're not holding people accountable, where our sense of justice becomes imbalanced. We would find it difficult to take action. It's like the energy of a mother spoiling her child. And then we have to know the difference between wisdom and knowledge. So St. Germain says that an example of this is you can have an actor that can memorize a whole play and deliver his lines, and even deliver those lines with great feeling and intensity. But that is not the same as writing the play. So there's a difference there. The actor is just mimicking something, and that is what knowledge is. We're just memorizing something. Wisdom, on the other hand, comes from beyond. It flows from God. It flows from our higher self. It's what we know to be true versus what we've learned. And we can see how our learning, what we learn, can be corrupted. Therefore, our knowledge can be corrupt. Our knowledge can only be as good as what is being taught to us. But wisdom cannot be corrupted because it's coming directly from source. So as I said, this is what is changing with the serious shifts energy that we've been working on. And this is not just something that is going to, an energy that's going to come in and then it does its thing and it's gone in a day. Okay. This is something that is evolving. In fact, if you go back to a video I did in May at the last eclipses, it was an energy reading, and it was called 5D Timelines, Balance Creates Dimensional Shifts and New Realities. That video is all about what is actually manifesting right now. And then this energy, you're going to see it evolve a lot between now and May, but even that won't be the full totality of the shift. everything is cycles, right? And the eclipses are a 6-month cycle, but then they also represent larger cycles that span years. We have to be patient. Things often take several years to evolve, but I think a lot of you are feeling this and going to be feeling this. This is really coming into our Christed energy, our Christed self. And this is what we've been meaning when we talk about becoming your true, authentic self. This is the energy that we need to really embody that. So to reiterate, we are aligning with God's energy more. This is opening up our energy fields to stronger manifestation without the old distortions. Our energy fields are expanding. And this is not just affecting us, but it's allowing us to have a greater impact on those around us so that we can affect more change in the world simply through our own energy. This is breaking down separation because the first thing is we're aligning more with God. So that right there shows that there is no separation, but it's also about an equal balance between the masculine, feminine, and third energy. And yeah, we become our true self through becoming free. We're also releasing karmic obligations, meaning we're not beholden to karmic signatures anymore, which by that, I just mean patterns that have been repeating and repeating. We are becoming the divine creator. And guys, this is really how the world is going to change. I mean, have you ever just looked at kind of the mess the state of the world is in and just felt overwhelmed and like, how the heck are we going to do this? How are we ever going to heal the divide between people? And like I said, all the time, this divide is being shown to us more and more strongly. And that's okay because it's through seeing the separation, seeing the divide that we grow. If we didn't see that, it wouldn't have the same effect. So it's just like on the twin flame journey, we go through all these challenges to overcome the idea of separation and come into the state of love. Collectively, we're doing the same thing. In fact, I did a video a couple years ago, I think 3 years ago now, and I think it's called Political Division is a Collective Twin Flame Journey, because it's the same thing. And it's the challenges, it's the getting slapped in the face with the distortions, getting slapped in the face with the separation, the polarization that makes us want to change and evolve. So this activations that are coming in is awakening us to illusions, and it is part of a mass awakening. So everybody's leveling up, and many people that were asleep are going to be waking up. Our own power will become more balanced with love. And this is important because in order to evoke change, we don't want to bring in the same energy as the energy that's out there, right? Let's say that. So things are very polarized, and even light workers are going to come down on different sides of the polarization. So to end the polarization, we don't come in with more polarization and try to beat people over the head with our idea. But we learn to come into a more balanced state that is power and love and wisdom combined, so that we can get through to people without needing to be overly aggressive or overly sentimental. And again, we're going to be affecting more people just through the energy. We're going to help the world change because we're going to have this ability to share our own wisdom to help empower other people. And we have to have this balance of power and love to have the inner strength and courage to share our wisdom with the collective, because we're also facing, all of us as light workers, we're facing these karmic stories of being disempowered to the point of being imprisoned, outcasted, even put to death for the wisdom that we tried to share in other lifetimes. And so the reason why it's so difficult, or one of the reasons, is because we've had these things happen to us before. And so then it becomes a belief system or a fear that if I share this, people are going to hurt me. But part of having that balance is that we have the inner strength not to be hurt so easily. You know, a big thing now is to say, words hurt me. You can't use those words because those words hurt me. But that creates an imbalance. When we get into this more balanced energy, we have the inner strength to hold our own point, even when others are refuting it or come at us angry or whatever, want to cancel us. We have to have that inner strength. If we let ourselves get overpowered by this and too emotional over just words, then what is going to happen is our freedom is going to be taken away. If we don't have the freedom to say the things we need to say the things that are on our minds, our truth, then we don't have sovereignty. So we need to protect free speech. The energy of this activation is going to help us shrug off evil as well and not be tempted to either fall into evil or to be blinded to the evil that's going on around us and how evil tries to pull us in. It's also going to help our inner balance and alignment with source create a moral compass within us that's based on compassion and judgment. Okay. I think this is going to be a key piece of change in the future, is having the right moral compass, one that is based on compassion and justice, one that is fair. We are going to become living examples of the change. That means that we need to walk the talk. And again, it's not going to be through beating people over the head with things so much as being an example. So before I go into the invocation, I just want to read a little bit from St Germain on alchemy. The blue plume of spiritual power relates to faith, goodwill, and the divine intent. The yellow plume of divine wisdom relates to illumination and to the right use of knowledge, the expansion of the intelligence of the Godhead into the chaliced heart and mind of the earnest aspirant to godliness. The pink plume of divine love is the crown of life, which provides a permeation of the qualities of mercy, compassion, justice, and creativity. Divine love as radiant light is also the crown of God's happiness, which he sheds forth by his mighty light rays throughout the universe, whether the universe is aware of it or not. Let me point out that the sunshine yellow plume or sunburst of divine illumination that is within everyone, released through the south arm of the Maltese cross at the pivot between the positive and negative arms of the cross, is the secret key by which man can unfold his own wisdom flame. This central plume of the tripartite flame of life must be consciously expanded within heart and mind through invocation of the I Am presence. For as the animating principle of God's own mind, it is given freely for the use of all who will make the call in the name of the Christ. By visualizing its golden yellow radiance passing through one's 4 lower bodies many times daily, the devotee initiates the process of burning out the accretions of negation and density, purifying the mind, feelings, and memories, reinforcing therein the revitalizing electronic power of vital truth. As he joyously assimilates wisdom's fire, these displace and consume the dross of erroneous thoughts and feelings previously assembled in the human mind that prevent the flow of light through the human consciousness, and until transmuted, remain the enemy of every man seeking God illumination. Jesus said, "A man's foes shall be they of his own household," and no more motley household has ever been assembled than a man's own wrong thoughts. It is not necessary to pull up the weeds of those wrong thoughts all at once, for the wheat may easily be removed along with the tares. However, it is essential to recognize that some degree of reappraisal and self-examination is constantly necessary if one is to retain the true alchemist's objective and standard of perpetual progress on the path. Because it was announced years ago that a number of black magicians had been removed from the planet, some students were of the opinion that the world was then completely freed of the emanation of embodied evil. When cosmic unity and harmony exist everywhere, when criticism, condemnation, and judgment have ceased, when celestial happiness penetrates the world and all strife is ended, I may agree. But for the time being, the presence of many more black magicians who by free will have chosen the left-handed path is apparent in the outplaying of atrocities on a world scale, alongside of pleasure cults and rituals of darkness tempting psychic suicide. All this in fast motion as you read my very words. So goes the world, Ella 1984. By their fruits ye shall know them is the criterion to be applied to the international scene as well as to the individual. People may hide for a while behind a mask of perfection, but the great unfailing light of God penetrates behind all masks and brings each one to judgment. There is no escape from evil karma except to turn from it and do well. Let every man be aware then that it is his duty and responsibility to nurture self-concern. For by concern for himself as to what thoughts he shall admit to his mind, and what motives and feelings he shall allow to tarry in the chamber of his heart, he is able to purify that mental world of his and to guard it by purity's flame in such a manner as to be of greater benefit and service to others. In the name of the Christ and by the threefold flame within your heart, demand of your great God self a balanced flow of power, wisdom, and love, and see what life will do for you. In closing this trilogy, then, I say unto all, let not selfish love carry you into the byways of delusion, far and apart from your brothers and sisters and those other parts of life whom God has made. Remember, too, that those who have chosen to embody elements of evil ever seek to divide the children of the light by subtlety, flattery, hypocrisy, money schemes, sexual entanglements, etc. You yourself can name the rest, whereas true love would unify the sons and daughters of God in the very essence of holiness and world service. To pay tribute to love is to pay tribute to the great drawing power of God's own tripartite flame. Love is God's flame of being and manifestation. Infinite love can best be expressed as the manifestation of God. The manifestation of God can occur in everyone. It is the destiny of man that shakes from man his dust. Love, then, is the fullness of God as he manifests man. I tell you, there is no limit to the degree of God's love which anyone who will may manifest. Anyone who wills to invoke it, to be it, and to share it may be the answer to love's call and calling. Okay, so let's do the invocation. This invocation was written by Dr. Joshua David Stone. I've spoken about him before. He wrote the 50-point cosmic cleansing meditation that I posted. So close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths. I call forth from Archangel Michael the anchoring of the cosmic blue sword of power and manifestation. I request it be used to empower me and manifest my service work in this world. Please anchor this in my right hand. I call to the Divine Mother energies to anchor into my left hand the pink and magenta rose of cosmic love to balance the cosmic power I now hold in my right hand. And I call forth for Melchizedek the cosmic golden scroll and the golden robe of Melchizedek to embody cosmic wisdom. This wisdom comes in through the crown chakra and forms a triangle with the other energies. See the blue and the pink and the gold meeting in your heart. Thank you, and may you be blessed.